Despite sitting at the cabinet table, she took precisely zero action to address this problem.
The shock never ends in Canada. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got Mark Miller and his department caught up in a serious scandal as they were caught funding, we'll call it ill intent towards the Jewish community. It was also found out that Carney has been funding temporary foreign workers and students child benefits. We're not talking millions, we're talking billions. We've got a spicy back and forth in the House of Commons talking about immigration, not locking down the criminals. We've got a bunch of other stuff here. Let's jump into this. Starting this episode off, we've got Canada Proud posting this. We've got Alexandre Boulris of the NDP. The only NDP MP in Quebec is expected to announce his resignation from Parliament to run for the leadership of the Quebec Solidaire. His departure will bring the NDP down to just 5 MPs. If you look at the riding, Abby Lewis could win this one and get a seat in the House of Commons. That would be the smart move to do. 338 has this projected NDP 40% chance to win, 32% for the Liberals. We've got Polywave projecting this at 35.9 versus 32.9. I think Abby Lewis should definitely go for this riding. He'll get a little boost just being the leader in this riding. He'll most likely win this, and then he'll have a seat at the table for the next 3 years. Otherwise, what is he doing? Moving ahead, we've got Melissa posting this. Another company looking to re-domicile to the United States, leaving British Columbia, Canada, which usually means the stock price will go up. So this is Jushy to seek shareholder approval to re-domicile from British Columbia to Nevada. And what's Jushy? It's a company that involved in the green Luigi, the green stuff that Trudeau legalized. Moving ahead, we've got conservative Rachel Thomas posting this. This is outrageous. Mark Miller approved funding in his own riding for an organization tied to Laith Marouf, who openly promoted anti-Semitic H-word, including V-word rhetoric against Jewish people. Mark Miller claims he knew nothing, yet records show his office recommended just 2 employers that year. His explanation simply doesn't add up. Canadians deserve accountability. Taxpayer dollars should never fund H-word, and those responsible must answer to it. Of course they did this, because this is what the Liberals do. As she's got it highlighted, Heritage Minister Mark Miller yesterday would not say who in his office recommended a Canada Summer Jobs grant for an anti-Semite. Internal records confirm payment to a constituent in Miller's Montreal riding who fantasized about pew-pewing Jews. Disgusting. Moving ahead, we've got Tim Hodgson here arguing with Conservative MP Shannon Stubbs about a new pipeline to the West Coast from Alberta because, well, this isn't currently tied to net zero, so they don't really care about this. Listen to this nonsense. She's trying to press him on, you guys got to get rid of all the regulations so a proponent can come forward, and he keeps saying, well, the proponent would be building this, has nothing to do with us.
But you've made the agreement to all Canadians. You want Canada to be an energy superpower. A pipeline to the Pacific is necessary to get beyond the U.S. So on what date will the Pacific pipeline start getting built?
As I said, we don't build the pipelines. The proponents build the pipelines. It's up to the proponent to bring a proposal forward. My understanding is
Yeah, but a proponent can't do that if they have a bunch of regulations preventing the flow of oil to the West Coast. No, we're not dumb around here. We know exactly what they're doing.
As you know, the proponents who would build that pipeline have said you have to repeal anti-energy laws, regulations, policies for them to be able to build that pipeline. You said you want to do that after C5. So how quickly will you get those laws fixed so that you can tell Canadians the date on which the pipeline that you promised to the Pacific will be constructed?
So as you well know, the federal government and the government of Alberta have a plan together to work collectively in collaboration with a shared goal.
So what are you doing to get the private sector proponent who will build the pipeline to the Pacific that you promised Canadians would get built and in under 2 years, given the language around C5?
So we are working with Alberta and with the Pathways
We know full well this is not getting built until Pathways. He just said it.
Alliance.
So on what date?
Yeah, Pathways Alliance. That's the only way they'll do is carbon capture, net zero. Moving ahead, we've got this story everywhere. Coming from Juno News, it says exclusive $1.1 billion in Canada child benefit payments went to foreign workers and international students just last year. We can see numerous people posting this. Quite a deplorable situation. Canada Revenue Agency data shows Canadian taxpayers were billed nearly $3 billion. I just said 1.1. Well, it's $3 billion since 2021. And Carney has been dramatically increasing this, which is what you can see on the screen here. In total, by temporary foreign workers claiming the Canada Child Benefit between 2021 and 25. You can see this cumulatively $388 million, 744, then 1.1 billion, 1.8 billion, and now almost $3 billion in 5 years. A written response tabled in the House Commons has revealed that more than $1.1 billion in Canada Child Benefit payments were issued issued to temporary residents in 2025, including international students and temporary foreign workers, according to data from the Canada Revenue Agency. Mark Carney's giving $1 billion of benefits to non-Canadians, and you've got a ton of Canadians who are not getting Canada Child benefits. Those waiting lists are long. People are not getting these benefits, yet temporary foreign workers and students are from other countries. It says the figures provided in response to a written question from Conservative MP Andrew Lawton, who asked the question. So good on Andrew Lawton for asking this. I mean, just absolutely staggering numbers. Here we've got some more data. So this shows the number of temporary residents that received the CCB payments. So Trudeau had it at 61,000 a year, then up to 68, then 110. Carney gets in and it goes up to 157,000 a year. They're trying to bribe people to be Liberal voters. That's what this is. Canada population 2015, 35 million. Canada population 2025, 41 million. Did Canada add 6 million jobs in those 10 years? No, we did not. This is insane. Canadian taxpayers cannot be burdened with childcare benefits of foreigners. What are we doing here? Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? This is why Canadians feel more broke. Our government is printing money to give to foreigners and their kids they can't afford. In what world does it make sense for anyone but citizens to get child benefit payments of any kind of socialized payment from the government? What's even the point of having citizenship then? Exactly. It seems more beneficial to not be a citizen of Canada right now. Now, to mix things up a little bit here, we've got some good old-fashioned arson. We've got a suspicious character here. It says Tesla dealership in Vaughan, Ontario appears to have been targeted by another Indian extortion gang. Yep, here we go. Light that up. This is what the Liberals brought into our country. They allowed these people to just flood right in with no vetting. Just come on in, start doing destruction. Canadians have to pay for this stuff. Moving ahead, look at this story here. We've got a young farmer who gets some papers from Alto. Turns out, yep, they're starting to poke around. They want parts of his land.
So in my hands, I have 3 notices from Alto where they're looking to gain access to some of our land, including the land that the chicken barn is built on. And they'd be looking for access for the next 3 years. And they likely want to access from 8 a.m. to midnight. Receiving a notice makes me very wary and gives me the feeling that it'll be installed in my backyard. And that's something that I'm totally against.
This could be a preamble for the purchase, the sort of purchase of the land, or ultimately the expropriation. So they're very concerned about that.
Despite the general concern among landowners in Eastern Ontario, Alto's CEO said expropriation would be a last resort. In an interview with CBC's Ottawa Morning in late March, Martin Embleau said the company would much prefer a willing buyer, willing seller agreement.
It doesn't matter though, last resort or not. They'll just still come in and steal people's land. Whether they're going to steal this guy's chicken barn and his grain silos here? Who cares about his livelihood? Just steal it for this giant high-speed train that Liberal insiders are going to make millions off of. Yes, they'll take it, then they'll sit on it forever because these Liberals never actually get to building parts of these projects, just billions of dollars spent on meetings and discussions. Yep, that's what's going to happen here. We got Leah posting this one. We've got a 45-year-old Brampton truck driver had a tractor trailer stuck in the front yard of a home. After the vehicle was removed, an investigation found several defects with the vehicle's braking system. The driver was charged with careless driving, disobeying sign, improper braking system, commercial motor vehicle, push rod stroke exceeds prescribed limit, driving a commercial vehicle with a major defect, failing to record a defect in a daily inspection report, operating an unsafe commercial vehicle. These people are a danger to society. Brampton is filled with these truck drivers from South Asia that disobey all of our rules and put Canadian lives at risk. This needs to be prosecuted. We need to have serious penalties, 10 years in jail for this kind of stuff. We've got this one here. Samir Abdelgadir, a 45-year-old man from Sudan, was convicted of kidnapping a 14-year-old boy, had his sentence reduced by 6 years by Justice Sandra Nish-Ikawa because growing up in several countries with his father, a UN diplomat, exposed him to systemic R-word. This is the country we live in where you can get away with horrible crimes because of woke ideological nonsense. Jump over to the House of Commons. We have quite the spicy back and forth here. It goes back and forth many times as the Liberals have made Canada so incredibly dangerous. It's unfair. It's unjust. They allow criminals out for no good reason after doing heinous acts in our country.
Yesterday, when confronted with cases of non-citizens convicted of serious crimes getting sentence discounts to dodge deportation, the former Liberal immigration minister claimed there was no rule requiring judges to do this. But now a Quebec judge has exposed the truth, warning that judges and prosecutors across Canada are doing exactly that. If you do the crime, you should do the time. But Canadians are paying the price as convicted foreign nationals are receiving discounted sentences due to their immigration status. If the former Liberal immigration minister knew this loophole was being abused, why did he vote against our Conservative bill to stop the abuse so there's one law law for all.
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Speaker, it's very clear that serious crimes need to be met with serious penalties. I'm pleased to inform the honourable member that the case law in Canada makes sure that judges may not completely distort a sentence that would be not fit for the crime committed. Mr. Speaker, it's essential that as we ensure we have more serious penalties, particularly for the most violent offenders, that we also allow our court system to operate independently. I am proud to live in a country that is governed by the rule of law. I hope the same is true for all members of this House.
Sean Fraser is the biggest failure of this government of this country. He really is. Our country's not safe. I mean, even just tonight, I was out fixing my vehicle because someone tried to break into it and did a bunch of damage to it and trying to paint and put on epoxy to put pieces of it back together. I go out to the store, I buy the stuff, I get home. As soon as I get out of the vehicle, there's like an explosion sound. Like someone fired a pew-pew or something exploded to the point where somebody in the neighborhood quickly called the cops. The cops came by. They were driving around doing loop after loop. And what was it? I don't know. This isn't the Canada I grew up in. You didn't hear random pew-pews and explosions. You know, I had someone show up my door once saying I needed to call the cops because some guy with a big machete was chasing him and his friend. You would never have any of this kind of stuff back in the 80s and the 90s when I grew up. These liberals have made our country unsafe.
Mr. Speaker, the two-tier justice system exists not in spite of the Liberals, it exists because of the Liberals. In one case, a non-citizen criminal who was found guilty twice groping a young woman's genitals avoided real prison time and instead received house arrest in order to help him avoid deportation. This loophole tells victims that this Liberal system cares more about protecting convicted foreign nationals from deportation than protecting Canadians. Justice should be blind. How much longer is this Liberal government going to defend an ideological two-tier justice system and finally start standing with Canadians instead of siding with convicted foreign criminals?
Good on this guy bringing this stuff up. It's absolutely deplorable.
Speaker, it is completely disingenuous for any member of this House to suggest that members of another party care more about criminals than they do about public safety. The Conservatives have tried that before, and Canadians saw them out of office.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Pierre Poilievre wins this argument over and over. Even during the election, he won this argument. He's got nothing here, and that's why he was like, because he knows he's full of crap.
As a result, Mr. Speaker, we take crime very seriously. The kinds of very serious crimes that have been committed will be subjected to harsher sentences as a result of the legislation that we are moving forward in this Parliament. The member is a new member. He may not be aware that in 2013, the Supreme Court of Canada made a decision indicating this could be the case. For 2 years, the Conservatives remained in power, chose to do nothing about this issue.
This guy lost 1 million people, and he has the audacity to criticize Vincent Ho for being new to Parliament. This guy's record is completely tarnished.
Well, I've been here a hot minute, and that minister should try telling that to the victim of a non-citizen who broke into their house in Canada, stole from them, and then violently assaulted them. And then what did the judge do? They gave the criminal house arrest so he wouldn't be deported. Here's the reality. This former immigration minister broke the immigration system. He brought too many people in too fast. Our ERs are overflowing and we have a housing and jobs crisis. Now he's breaking the justice system. Why did the former immigration minister vote against my bill to stop this disgusting practice?
I really wonder if the reverse happened after this situation. That homeowner who got pow-powed, if they went and found that guy, broke in and did the exact same thing to him, we all know that they would likely get a much steeper sentence. But then if they sued based on inequality, what would happen in the courts? Because our country's becoming very race-based at this point.
Mr. Speaker, being accused of breaking the justice system for advancing more serious penalties for serious crimes is something that clearly defies logic. Mr. Speaker, she is correct about one thing. She has been here for a minute. I have great respect for my colleagues, but during her time here, she sat in cabinet for a full 2 years after the Supreme Court of Canada demonstrated that courts may consider immigration consequences to ensure that there is a fit penalty. Despite sitting at the cabinet table, she took precisely zero action to address this problem, only raises it now. Mr. Speaker, we believe that serious and violent criminals should face serious penalties. We will not just say that on the floor of the House of Commons. We will advance legislation to make it so.
That's right, folks. He's not going to just say it on the floor of the House of Commons. They're really doing something about it, apparently, which they're not.
There are women who have been sexually assaulted in Canada by non-citizens, and then the non-citizens have been given leniency in order to stay here and avoid deportation. You know, the minister here talks about what I did. I tabled a bill to stop this practice, and every single person on that side, including him who would have given the recommendation on my bill, voted against it. Disgusting. Why?
The Honourable
Mr. Speaker, I think it's disingenuous to call into question the commitment of any member of any party when it comes to dealing with heinous crimes such as sexual assault. For my part, Mr. Speaker, we have advanced legislation that advances stiffer penalties.
I'm having trouble hearing. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
They can't say that. I mean, that one witness they brought on, Kate, this lady here, Kate Alexander, she had her boyfriend nearly pow her to her end, and she had to move to America just to be safe to get away from this guy because the government is not doing anything about it. They just let this guy get away with nearly ending her. There's story after story in our country. Our country's not safe. These liberals have intentionally made it that way.
Mr. Speaker, if anyone would question this government's commitment to gender-based violence, I would invite them to read the text of Bill C-16, the largest suite of reforms to advance more serious penalties to combat gender-based violence, matched with an announcement today to put $50 million more in the hands of organizations that are working to combat gender-based violence in our communities. Mr. Speaker, as I continue to be heckled talking about an issue such as gender-based violence, I won't be distracted. I'll do the work.
Yeah, but they're not doing the work because Kate had to move out of our country because it was too dangerous because they're not prosecuting the guy who went after her.
Our Prime Minister stood in this House, promised to keep violent repeat offenders off our street, but it turns out that was just another speech, just another illusion. Violent crime is up 55%, and Canadians are watching violent offenders walk free with judicial discounts instead of real consequences. Speech after speech, the Liberals talk tough but deliver nothing. How many more empty speeches will it take before these Liberals stop the illusions and finally deliver the justice for victims?
The Honourable
Mr. Speaker, this question is shocking. We have delivered more public safety and justice legislation than any government prior. 7 different pieces of legislation in this House, Mr. Speaker. And what have the Conservatives done all along? They've delayed, they haven't supported it. And just on C-22, lawful access the other day, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad to see that they were able to pass it.
Delayed and haven't supported it. Where's the SDTC documents? Release the documents. Remember those that likely had something very incriminating in them that they refused to release? Parliament just shut down because they refused to release those documents. Why don't we bring those up again? This party is full of chronic liars, which is the worst thing that has ever happened to Canada.